Y'all probably not gonna like this. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I didn't think I was gonna have to do this, but I'm gonna have to do this. It's only one winner, man. Woo! It's time. YouTube! What's good? What's going on, man? It's your boy B, and we back in this mode with another video, man. Today, I will be doing a comparison between the new PS5 DualSense Edge controller, man. Sony PlayStation first Pro controller compared against the Xbox Series 2 Elite controller, man. Both of these are very dope controllers. I highly recommend them, but it can only be one winner. Let's get straight into the video, man. All right, so first what I want to talk is about what you get inside the box with both, man. Starting with the PlayStation, you do get your USB Type-C charger connector in order to charge your controller. You also have this lock mechanism that you use to lock your controller in place while it's in the case, to charge your controller while inside the case. You do get 4 paddles as well. You got 2 short paddles and 2 long paddles. And also inside the box, you also have the 4 additional thumbsticks that you can replace and change out. So that's all that comes inside the box with the PS5 DualSense Edge controller, man. Like I said, you get that all white case here, man. Pretty dope case. In the back of the case, you do get that that cutout to where you can charge your controller while it's inside the case, man. With the Xbox Elite 2 series controller, man, inside the case, of course, you get your controller. You also get a rechangeable D-pad, man, which is cool. I like that. I'm glad that they did include that, man. Also, you got 4 additional changeable paddles as well. You got the super long ones, you got the short ones, and it also does come with a key to change the tension on the analog stick. Speaking of the analog sticks, you do get 4 analog sticks as well, similar to PlayStation's, but Xbox did include a super high-rise analog stick, man. Look, man, big shout out to Microsoft, man, because Sony, come on, Sony, come on, man. You should include a super high-rise one, man. Come on, man. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. It is their first Pro controller, so I guess we can cut them a little slack. But come on, yeah, come on. You gotta take notes from the other companies. But anyways, man, like I said, you do get those 4 extra analog sticks. You get a medium-rise one, a super high-rise one, and a standard edition. And each one of them does have a different texture on top of the analog stick as well. You also have a charging base dock inside the case, which is magnetic, man. So I really like that. And then the back of the case, you do get that USB Type-C cutout, so you can charge your controller while it's inside the case, man. Pretty dope feature, man. I kind of wish that PlayStation would have went that particular route when they designed their case for their new DualSense Edge, but it is what it is, man. All right, so let's talk about some similarities between the two of these controllers, man. Starting with the similarities, because both of these controllers have a lot of things in common, man. Starting with the interchangeable analog sticks, man. Both controllers allow you to change out your analog sticks. They do have 4 additional analog sticks that's included inside the case, man, to your liking. They also allow you to switch between different modes on the controller as well, to swatch between different layouts that you might have your controller assigned to via the console. In the back of the controller, you do have your USB Type-C charger connection, so it allows you to charge your controller while it's inside the case, man, through that USB Type-C connector, man. Also, you have your trigger stoppers as well as paddles. Now, both of these controllers do have the 3 different modes that you can slide your paddles between. Not your paddles, but your trigger stoppers between. So you got the first one, which is your normal mode, the second one, which is the medium pull, and the last one, which is a shorter pull. Now, I will say this, that the shorter pull is a lot shorter on the Xbox than it is on the PS5 PS5 controller. So that's something to note. You also have paddles in the back of the controller as well. Now with the Xbox controller, you do have the option to place all 4 paddles on the back, whereas the PS5 controller, the DualSense Edge, it only allows you to place 1 pair of paddles on the back, man. So that's something to keep note of as well, man. So with that being said, let's talk about the differences, man. So far as difference, now there's a couple of differences. It's not many, but there is a couple of differences. The first difference I want to say is that Xbox included a super high-rise analog stick inside the case, man, which is very big, man. So those people who use control freaks no longer really have to use those control freaks, man, like the high-rise control freaks, because Xbox included a high-rise analog stick inside the case, whereas whereas Sony, they only included a medium rise inside the case. So if that's something that you know what I'm saying, is a deal breaker for you, I will honestly go with the Xbox, man, because you get that super high rise, or you can just put a control freak on it. It's up to you, whichever one best suits you. Also, I want to talk about that the how you charge the controller inside the case, man. That's big to me. So with the Xbox, how you charge the controller inside the case, they do have that magnetic base that attaches to the controller once you set your controller inside, and all you do is put your USB Type-C cable in the back of the case, man. It's very simple, nothing super complicated, whereas PlayStation 5, they got this lock mechanism that you have to use to lock your USB Type-C cable inside the lock, and then that way you can place the lock on the back of the controller where it locks. So it's confusing. It sounds confusing. I know it sounds confusing because it is, man. They did it super complicated for no reason. I don't know why, but yeah, man. Honestly, shout out to Microsoft for keeping everything simple, man. Another thing I did notice about the difference between the two controllers, the Pro controllers, is that, like I mentioned, the trigger stoppers, man. So the trigger stoppers on the Xbox controller are a little bit shorter than they is on the PS5 DualSense Edge, man. Not by much, but because since the both controller triggers are made differently. But it is definitely you can definitely tell a difference between the trigger stoppers, man. Also, I do want to note on the Xbox Series 2 controller that it's kind of hard to get to that second mode, especially if you're coming from the bottom far, like when the trigger stoppers. So if you're using the trigger stoppers and want to use it on medium and you're trying to slide it from the back, it's kind of hard to hit that sweet spot in the middle, because it's gonna slide straight up. If you apply too much pressure, it's gonna slide straight up to the first one. Whereas on the PS5 DualSense Edge, it's more of a smoother transaction. Like you get a satisfying click per mode you gonna slide to, man. So I like that. Big shout out to PlayStation / Sony for implementing that, man. Another thing I want to talk about is that on the paddles on the Xbox Series 2 controller, it allows you to place all 4 paddles on the back of your controller, man. So for someone who wants to program their controller to the max, man, have all these different types of buttons programmed, you got all your paddles on the back of the controller you can place. Whereas on the PS5 DualSense Edge controller, man, you only can put 1 pair of paddles on the back of the controller. Now they do also have this FN function button in the front, so these are work as paddles as well. So that's something else to take into consideration. Where on the Xbox Series 2 controller, Elite controller, it doesn't have that option, man. Another thing I want to note about the difference between the two controllers is that the PS5 DualSense Edge controller do allow you to swap out your analog stick, your whole analog stick, not just the stick itself. We talking about the whole module. It slides out and you can replace it. I believe they retail for like $20 on PlayStation website, man. So not too bad of a price, man. So you don't have to worry about getting no analog drift if that was something that you previously encountered in the past, man. You no longer really have to worry about that because you can replace your whole analog stick easily. All you have to do is slide that release button in the back, which is kind of difficult to slide unless you got nails. If you don't got no legs, it's gonna be kind of tough, man. If you got nails, it shouldn't be a problem. But once you slide that release back, the front plate pops up, and all you do is hit that clip, pull the clip up, and slide the analog stick out, man, and you can replace it with the new one, man. So I really like that they implemented that, man. They really was ahead of the game with that one right there, man. So yeah, that's a huge difference between the two controllers, and honestly, that's really a big W in my books, man, especially for those people who really encounter those stick drifts. Another thing I want to mention that's different between the two controllers is that the Xbox Series 2 controller do allow you to swap out your D-pad, man. So they got this circle one, which is mainly for those who probably play like any indie games or something of that nature, where it's a whole bunch of left, right, and you just use your D-pad. They also have the original D-pad that you see on the standard Xbox controllers, as well as on the kind of similar to the PS5 controller. It's just a normal D-pad, man. So you got your up, down, and left, right, man. So that's what I like about the Xbox Series Elite 2 controller, man. So you do have that option to switch out your D-pad, man. Now, something that I did forget to mention is that both controllers do have this grippy texture around the handles, man. Xbox have it all around, so you get more of a firmer grip on the Xbox Series Elite 2 controller, whereas on the PS5 controller DualSense Edge, you only get that grip texture in the back of the controller, if you know what I'm saying. So they got this rubberized texture grip on the back of the controller, kind of where your fingers rest, where, like I said, is on the Xbox Series 2 Elite controller, it's all around, even on the palm of your hand. So I really like that that particular feature that they implemented on the Xbox Series 2 Elite controller. Something that you should also keep in mind is that the analog sticks on the PS5 DualSense Edge controller are a lot firmer and tougher to snap off, whereas on the Xbox Series 2 Elite controller, they come off fairly easy. Now, they don't come off while you're gaming. I haven't had that particular issue, but they do kind of snap off pretty easily when you pull on them. So if you're worried about your analog stick coming off, which you shouldn't really be worried about, because like I said, they don't really pop off while you in game unless you're intentionally trying to pop them off. You shouldn't have that particular issue with the Xbox Series Elite 2 controller, but the DualSense Edge controller it is a lot firmer to pull off the analog stick, because you do have to snap it in place, whereas the Xbox is more so of a magnetic. I also want to mention that the PS5 DualSense Edge controller does also come with that traditional mic as well on the controller, so the Xbox Series does not have that particular feature. All PlayStation 5 controllers does have the option to where you can chat with using your Xbox 5 controller. I don't really recommend you do it because it actually sounds terrible, but if you don't have no headphones, you do have that as an option. I did forget to mention that both of them do have the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack at the bottom as well, so if you want to use them wired, you do have the option to do that. And that's pretty much it, man, between the Xbox Series Elite 2 controller and the PS5 DualSense Edge, man. Now, I have to pick a winner, and the winner I'm gonna go with, y'all probably not gonna like this. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm gonna have to go with the PS5 DualSense Edge controller. It's just because they allow you to swap out the whole analog stick, man, which can be a factor. I feel like that's honestly what's one of the main things that really kill a lot of controllers, man, getting that stick drift. And I actually had that particular problem in one of my PS4 controllers, DualSense controllers. Not the PS5, but the PS4 controller, man. And with that Xbox, you don't really have that particular feature, man. You can use the tool to tighten the tensions on the analog stick, but far as swapping them out for a whole new one, you have to buy a whole new analog stick or even a controller, to be honest with you, man. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta have to take the whole controller apart. So that's a task that a lot of people not even really down for. They just probably buy a whole new controller. So if you're playing on PC, and the reason I'm doing this particular view too is as well is like, if you're a PC gamer and want to use a controller and want to have a pro controller, I recommend that you go with the DualSense Edge 5 controller. Now they do have this issue. I gotta mention in the video, man. Right now it's not really compatible for like just plug and play Whereas the Xbox Series 2 controller is, you just hook it up to the USB Type-C cable connection to your computer and it's ready to go. Now whereas the DualSense Edge, now if you're trying to run Call of Duty, it's not really gonna work. You gotta download a particular software. I believe it's in Steam called DSX, and that software does cost I believe like $5 or somewhere around there. So that's another thing to put into consideration, man. So when you're choosing between the two, man. So for those PC gamers who are looking for a new controller to game with, man, I still recommend this controller for longevity. But if you want something that's gonna work with everything on Windows, cause it's Microsoft, I would go with the Xbox Series 2 Elite controller. At the end of the day, you really can't go wrong with both. And those gamers who have the Xbox and the PS5, and you haven't really made a decision on which one should you choose. Honestly speaking, whichever console you play the most, that's the one I really get the Pro controller for. Like I said, you really can't go wrong with both. Both of these are dope controllers in my opinion. Now the DualSense Edge will run you roughly $199 excluding tax, where you got the Xbox Series 2 Elite controller on retail for I believe like $180. You can find it on sale here and there throughout the weeks, throughout the months, man. So this goes on sale fairly often. They also got a cheaper model of this particular controller that's currently on sale right now for like $115. It's like the Gen 2 of this. It's like $115. Like I said, it's all white with the black grips, and it doesn't include the paddles on the back or the analog stick. So you don't really get all the extra stuff that you do get with the Elite Series 2 controller that comes inside the case. You don't really get all that extra stuff. Now you do get the charger in the back as well as the just the controller itself. That's pretty much what it is, and you got the trigger stoppers and stuff on that controller as well. For those, I only recommend that particular controller for those who really don't use paddles and stuff like that. I feel like that's a dope controller for someone that don't really use paddles. But if you use your paddles, you gotta go with the big dog, right? But anyways, man, that's pretty much it for today's video, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff helps out with the channel, of course. Get in the comments and let me know which controller would you prefer. Which controller do you prefer? If you own both consoles, if you're a PC gamer looking to use a Pro controller, let me know which controller you may go with, man, or that you already have. Let me know in the comments, man. I'm always in the comments showing love. With that being said, be sure to check out one of the videos at the end of the screen, because it's definitely a banger. I would miss it if I was you.